welcome to my channel. My name is Carrie Fable, aka Cypress, and I am filling you in on all voiceover related news, entertainment news, that kind of stuff. I've got a long list for you today, so I'm going to try to be a little bit faster this time so I can get you the information without too much preamble. Not really preamble, more like a tangent. That right there, I'm going to try not to do that. And we'll see how this goes. And my apologies, I actually have fallen under the weather and I can't get out. So, so I've got some tea here with me so that I don't, abuse my voice because I kind of need that. And yeah, so I will try to keep my energy up. I'm sorry though if you're like, she's a little off this episode. That's why. Things happen, but we must proceed. So I want to start with the coolest thing ever. There is a Japanese seiyuu is also the English voice actor for the same character in the same series. So the romantic comedy anime Tomo-chan is a girl. Has the same voice actor in both English and Japanese. A rarity in the anime industry. I'll say it's rare. I don't know that I've never heard of that before. I'm sure, I guess it's happened, or they kept it if, they didn't have to translate it if they were supposed to be saying something, not speaking English or something. So I guess the character's name is Carol. I'll be honest, I had not heard about this anime before I saw this. But I think it's amazing. So voice actor Sally Amaki voices the character Carol in both original Japanese and the English dub. So well done. That is amazing. I'm going to link the article down below if you want to hear all the details. This is definitely big. I don't know that it would happen all that often because obviously you need to be fluent enough. Now it might help if in Japanese she's supposed to be American, so it's okay if she has an authentic American accent when she speaks Japanese. But it's very difficult to dub something over in a native language when that's not in the plot, that kind of thing. So again, I don't know. Give me one moment. All right. Yeah, no, it just seems like the character or the actor is bilingual. So I don't think the character really is supposed to have any kind of accent. I think she is just awesome. So congrats to her. So apparently Karen Kagami plays Maho Akashi in both dubs of the anime idol D4DJ All Mix. And by both dubs, they mean the original Japanese and in English. That's awesome. I think I've heard of some dubbing being different, like the same person would do Spanish and Portuguese because I guess they're similar. So they might use the same voice actor for that kind of thing. I think I have heard that before. So it's been done before. I apologize. I go back on what I had just said, but I still don't think it's happens very regularly. So this other one is a little bit controversial, and I feel like the article that I found is a little, I don't know, offensive. They use terms for the people who have called this out. I'm like, you should have been a little bit more unbiased. But this was just the easiest one for me to click on, so I will share that below. I don't necessarily believe in what they're saying. I'm just sharing the news. The title is Western voice actors accuse Crunchyroll of bigotry for casting white actress as Suletta in English dub of Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch From Mercury. So I am just laying this out here. So this specific case, they believe the character Suletta is coded. So she has a darker complexion, and there are things said in the series that would lead one to believe that she is supposed to be of a different race, ethnicity, color than the other main protagonist. They said something about a wedding scene. I am not familiar with the anime, and I certainly don't want to spoil it for anybody. But fans believe that she is coded as a person of color and that she should be voiced by a person of color. So that's this specific one. Okay, so that's all I'll say on that. The article with more information is down below. From what the article says, again, the article sounds a little bit biased to me. So it's saying that she is only coded, so it's not explicitly stated that she's an African queen and she's really proud of her heritage, and then it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like it's a much more subtle thing. Cecily misses me. Ceci. Hi, Pa. You want to do the news with me? Okay. Well, let me close the door so it's quiet. She usually doesn't bother me in the studio, but I always love my Bobby, so she can stay with me since I don't have to be completely quiet. But I'm sorry if a microphone picks her up with her little mouth noises. She's just getting comfy. But anyway, so that is, that's actually a larger discussion. And I'm not going to, it's such a wide conversation. So I'm going to be careful with how I address this because it's very serious. Representation matters. It is important. And I 100% agree with that. However, I do have the perspective of, like I said in the last episode about Joel, it was a quote from Neil that you don't have to look the part, right? So the idea with voiceover has always been that you are not limited by your physical attributes, right? A voice actor who is wheelchair bound could play, an Olympian, athlete, right? Well, I guess you could technically be in the Special Olympics, which sounds really bad to me, but or an astronaut. Let's just say an astronaut, right? So no, this man will never be able to actually stand, but in this series, he's voicing someone who's, the fastest man alive or like that. Like I said, an astronaut, a fireman, right? Like he would never have been cast in the face camera, a face actor that way, right? A camera actor that way. I don't know why I keep saying face actor. I will always just call them faces. Face versus voice, For example, there are, Mina Ashido from My Hero Academia. I actually cosplay as her. She's pink. And that's because she's got acid in her veins. So she's of Japanese ethnicity. She's not actually an alien. She's not from a different country even. She's Japanese. She just has pink skin because of the acid, right? Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z. He's green. He is actually an alien. Actually, all of them aren't they? But, and so, his voice, I think he was wonderfully cast, but that's the point, where you cast these characters, a talking dog, you cast the best voice for that role, regardless of age, sex, nationality, ethnicity, all of that stuff. Kind of any kind of disclaimer clause when you go to, a job to be hired. They say, we hire the best person, best voice for this job, not based on that. It then has to go into the scope of logistics and reality in society, where we want to be more equal and provide opportunities for people. So therefore, the common belief, which I adhere to as well, is that you do not audition for outside of your race. With most caveats. I am, European, technically. You're European ancestry. People consider I'm 100% white, right? I'm not Caucasian because I'm not from the Caucasus Mountains. But anyway, so I would feel comfortable auditioning for, an Italian or, that kind of stuff. But I never submit for African American or Latina unless they specifically ask for me. For example, if I'm really trying to look good to my new agent, I'm going to submit if they send me something that I feel like I can do. However, when they make it a very apparent, when they were like, she's a strong Black woman, I do not audition for that. And when I submit for those, I say, I'm not sure how comfortable I am voicing this, but I love the opportunity to have been considered. Because a lot of times what happens is you audition for one role and, they don't book you for that, but they got to hear your voice, so they might book you for something else. So if they like my voice and they hire me to be 5 extras in the background, that's awesome, right? But for the most part, I do not audition for those type of roles. And clearly, I think that is the right decision. But then you start crossing into just the difficulty where there are non-binary or trans characters, where it's difficult because are there non-binary trans voice talents out there? I am sure of it. I honestly do not know of anyone. I know of some actors, for example, Emma Darcy, it's D and then there's an apostrophe, so I don't know if it's Darcy. They play the adult Princess Rhaenyra, and they have, they've talked about their pronouns, they, them, they are non-binary. That's fantastic. So Emma can audition for whichever roles they feel comfortable with. But there are some times where they need... I have done only literally 2 auditions for a gender fluid, non-binary character. And I tried my best to respect the role as much as possible, but there's only so much that I can do. However, that also then gets into stereotyping, and that can be harmful. To stereotype, for example, like back in the day, a gay man, right? And that's hurtful because not everyone talks like that. So what exactly does a trans woman or a trans man sound like? So it's a little bit difficult. How do you cast that, right? It's so difficult. And that has happened in live action movies too, where you might cast a cisgendered woman to play a trans woman. To me, that's respectful, but I understand that can be hurtful. So that is it. It's not a black and white because there's just so many pieces to it, and so that does open it to the larger, where like that. I try to only audition for things where I would not feel that my presence would be offensive. And so it depends, based on character and situations. So occasionally, yes, especially because I also have certain feelings about forcing children into this career. Some of them love it, and that is fantastic. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work. And it's really just not fair, in my opinion, to put someone through that. So that's why I am pro adults playing children in voice acting, because again, you don't see them. If they can sound like a child, I think that's fine. So that kind of plays into it a little bit, not as much. No one really cares if, a 30-year-old plays a 60-year-old, as long as they can sound old, that kind of thing. But that, it's kind of the same scope, right? It's like, where do you put the lines? What is right and wrong on this? And a lot of people, vary and disagree on it. So that is my opinion. I do think that there is a need and a space to keep the diversity in the hiring of the talent. The minority roles should first go to the consideration of minority voice talent. I do believe in that. However, if there is no one that is able to perform the way that the casting director wants, I don't think it is, well, I mean, I can't really say that. I can't say what is and what is not offensive, but it's not intended that way. The intention is to represent this character and the overall series as best as possible. No one wants a series to fail, so that is the intent. But of course, there's always room for improvement. I am not going fast with these like I promised I would. Genshin Impact has a lot of controversy with several different things. One of the voice actors, Elliot Gindi, has been accused of sexual harassment, requesting nude photographs from fans. And I just found this other article that 2 Black voice actors were harassed for speaking out against queer fetishization. Ooh, say that word 3 times fast. I could have sworn I saw somewhere that the Genshin Impact actors were upset about their pay rate, that it was actually really, really low. I will look that up. I will insert, editor Carrie will insert here. There's not much to say on that. Stop harassing people. Stop being meanies. I was going to say something else, but I don't want to get flagged or anything. And I'm going to provide 2 articles down below, a resource for dealing with sexual abuse and what to do if you're being sexually harassed, because I think that is the most we can pull from this. I can't sit here and say, hey, don't be inappropriate, because the people who are being inappropriate aren't going to listen. They're not going to listen until they get caught. It can happen in every organization, every company, every job title. A person can do bad things. There can be corruption in everything. And I think that's what people tend to forget. They hear this, and I won't name him, but there was another one from Funimation a few years ago. So now everyone's going to think that voiceovers are creeps, right? That happens in other organizations as well. But I think the bigger part is we need to educate, especially our youth, the fans, the impressionable people who are reaching out to these voice actors or anybody, but in this case, it's a voice actor. But it happens a lot in Hollywood as well. So, face actors. they really love that they're getting an attention from their hero and they're being manipulated. And it can even happen on a lower scale of like influencers and YouTubers, right? So it doesn't matter who the groomer or who the immature predator is. And it's not necessarily happening to minors, but I know that it starts young. And so I just think we need to spread that, where you can be empowered even if you are a victim, or if someone is trying to make you a victim. There are ways out, especially now with the Me Too movement. You will be listened to more than you have in the past. I'm sure it's still a struggle. I can't imagine trying to speak out about that. I have had instances where things have gone, and I get it. I get it. You don't want to cause a stink. You don't want to, you don't want to cause a scene, because you speaking up about it is going to cause that scene, not the person doing the thing that they shouldn't have done. So I completely understand. But at the same time, that's why we need to speak out about it and say, no, if someone does this to you, you did nothing wrong. You were being manipulated. And even if you did do something wrong, you can always stop it now, right? Like, maybe you did fall and knowingly, and, you guys are all, but see, it's not the same. That's the thing, is when that's that hierarchy. There's a word for that, para relationship, where, the famous person has more power over the fan. So it's difficult. It's difficult. And, online, harassment and sexual assault can still happen. It's not just, meeting you in a dark alley. Like, there are other ways to do it, verbal ways also, not just, imagery and that sort of thing. So that's all I wanted to say, just kind of bring awareness to that. So if you're interested in those articles, those are down below. My thoughts go to the victims. I hope that they are getting support in speaking out, but I'm sure they're going to have a journey to healing, as everyone does, I think. Adobe Creative Cloud is going AI. So I actually found this through a Facebook page for audiobook narrators and producers. Adobe Creative Cloud is using machine learning to analyze your WAV files and train AI models. You have to opt out of this if you don't want them to do this, as it's on by default. So I believe what this is referring to, because I can't find the article. I'm new to this whole keeping receipts thing. So it's a thing called Sensei. So Sensei helps create effortlessly, make informed decisions, and target marketing for better results. So it's for data analysis, marketers, creatives, advertisers, and business professionals. It's supposed to optimize and scale experiences with real-time intelligence, predict customer behavior based on attributes, differences, and conversion factors, efficiently deliver one-to-one customer experience at scale. Supposedly, based on this, it's supposed to be helping in a less detrimental way to creatives. It says it helps creatives, but it doesn't help to take away their jobs. Please don't do this. Why is it so hard to understand? Let a human produce that art, or, create that book, write that article, read that voiceover. Just let the humans do that, okay? I would love to have a computer-generated backend, which I guess that might be, except for, again, people love the human touch. Having been in marketing and now doing marketing for my own business, that is something that comes up every single time. It's about authenticity and genuineness, genuinity. That's not a word. Being genuine, being a human, connecting one-on-one. Even these mass emails, using an email chain and stuff like that, that only works for certain aspects. A lot of things, they want that manual outreach. I worked at a nonprofit where we had someone, we manually called, you build relationships with these people to get that support, whether it be them as your client or, they, donating to a charity, that kind of thing. Efficiency isn't always the best. Sometimes it does matter, and you get better results for taking your time and doing a better job. For example, yes, can Grammarly, right? Grammarly doesn't do this, so I can pick on them because it just checks to make sure your grammar's fine. But let's say Grammarly could write you a whole email. it'll be grammatically correct. And it might even sound like, a natural English speaker or whatever. So it doesn't sound like a computer made it, But it's not going to have that same thinking and that same heart there where a human writing something who even maybe has made a mistake would be, that you can say, hey, I really liked that shirt you wore the other day. Although in a business sense, that's probably kind of creepy to say. But you know what I mean? Like, you just add that, like, I hope your son's having a great baseball season, because as a client success manager, you have to, these things about your, personal things about your clients to get that loyalty, because that builds healthy business relationships. So I don't even know as a business side of things how I really feel about these things kind of cutting corners. It helps in certain things. Automation, sure. I love that you can send out an email to 500 people inviting them to a soiree. That doesn't have to be, an actual touch point that is personal. But that has its time and place. And especially in the creative field, I don't think that needs to be there at all. Maybe, fine, a virtual voice to run lines with you. Okay, but don't use that for an actual work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Let's move on. All right, some really fast pop-off ones. Have we fallen out of love with voice assistants? So it turns out they're really unreliable and they are annoying because they keep asking you to confirm things and they don't get things right because they're not human. Read that article down below if you're interested in that. I had an article about a VoIP survey. I guess I've been sick for longer than I needed to be, or longer than I thought I was, because that doesn't make any sense to me now. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. So after that, I was like, okay. So remember, I record these before the new Last of Us episode comes out. So I recorded last week's before Sunday's episode 4 had come out. This is recording before episode 5. So before I was like, has there ever been a character or an actor, a voice actor who has played the same character as a voiceover and in live? So this is not the exact same thing, but I think this is super cool. Last of Us episode 4 has a Jeffrey Peace cameo. So the voice actor for Tommy plays Perry, who is like a new character in the series. So I thought that was really cool. And he actually did do at the end, HBO has like those interview things. I just love those things. I love the behind the scenes stuff. And so he gave a brief interview of doing that and being able to be a part of the series in a different way. So I think that is awesome. Congratulations to him. It must have been so fun to do. Again, not actually the same character. However, it's so cool to still be a part of it, like kind of like a graduation into a different, the spin-off, that kind of thing. So I think that's really cool. So I'm just going to lightly touch on this because it is big in the video game industry. And I know at some point I am going to have to touch on serious events and stuff. So there is the boycott against Hogwarts Legacy, the video game, due to the original creator, J.K. Rowling's beliefs on the trans community. And that is all I will say because it is a really hot button topic. However, if you want to know my personal opinions, I found an article that actually says exactly what I wanted to say, just better. So I will leave that down below. I will mark it where it says like this is the one that I agree with. I also found 2 other articles kind of both a little bit biased on either side. So you can read both of those to kind of come together and kind of form your own opinions. So yeah, so that is all I will say on that because I can't. Maybe later, maybe down in a few months, kind of like with the Bayonetta thing, maybe I'll talk about it. Right now, I just feel like I can't. And then, since this airs Monday, so tomorrow is going to be Valentine's Day, I found 2 little listicles for the best couples games for Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to read them. If you are interested in a short little description of them, check out the links below where they go into a little bit more detail. So I'm just going to list them. It Takes Two, Tools Up, Unraveled 2, Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, Monster Prom, Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout. That one was listed on both of the lists, actually. Untitled Goose Game, Lumber Hill, A Way Out, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Boyfriend Dungeon, The Sims 4. I don't know if I agree with that. It's a one-player game, but I guess you could sit there and just watch it with each other. Florence, Wide Ocean Big Jacket, Dream Daddy, Overcooked 2, Portal 2, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing New Horizons. I also think Tied Together, Pico Nico, Heave Ho, and that new game that's coming out on Valentine's Day, Blanc. I think those are actually going to be really good. Check out my gaming channel where I play with my sister, Fell Harbor, Blanc. It will be up Wednesday morning because it comes out on, I was going to say Thanksgiving. I don't even know what day I'm on right now, guys. Sorry. It comes out on Tuesday. It comes out on Valentine's Day, so we are going to play that after work, so I hope it's good. So I guess I can't technically recommend it, but it looks super cute, so I'm going to recommend it anyway. And I think I finally ended on a more positive note, so that's good. No more news for you. I'm sorry this one was a little bit disjointed. My head is just not all the way there, but I still hope that you enjoyed that. Remember that you are loved, you are worthy, and whatever you are struggling with today will pass. Until next time, stay crazy!